morning, you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to our channel and welcome back to another video. Y'all, this morning I have it's about 10 minutes to 9 now. I have a 9 o'clock appointment this morning with my high-risk doctor. And so I thought I would just come on here and get y'all to come on with me to the doctor today, because as you see I have an empty car, and so I thought I'd pop on here and kind of talk to y'all the last few minutes of my trip to the doctor. Yeah, so this morning, like I said, I'm going to see my high-risk doctor, and I just saw my OB last week, so this week it is my high risk. And I did remember I was telling y'all about having to be monitored now. When me and my husband sat down, I was telling y'all about how the blood stuff and the antibodies that my body has developed. They're now having to monitor those levels of the 2 antibodies that have been developed. I got another blood draw, so today I'm gonna learn of the results when I get here to the doctor. The doctor's gonna talk to me about the results, and so I'm gonna find out what they are, to see where my levels are. Because again, just having to be monitored every single time basically I come to the doctor, they're gonna have to monitor those numbers and to make sure that they don't get too high to where my body then begins to like fight the baby and fight the baby's blood. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. So I just was a little lonely this morning, so I thought I would come just talk to y'all while I am on my way, because I get so down where I told my high-risk doctor, I told him a couple of appointments ago that I now have, it feels like I have what I've termed, now I have made up my own term, this isn't a real term, but appointment anxiety. And he laughed, he kind of giggled at first because he was like, appointment anxiety? I was like, yeah, because every time I have an appointment, every time it's time for an appointment, I get a little, like a little anxious, a little nervous or whatnot. And so, and that thing be real. It feels so real to me because it's like, it really gives me real symptoms, like sick to my stomach first thing in the morning and not really wanting to eat anything. But this morning I feel pretty good because I have really been feeling this baby moving a whole lot. So I feel pretty good this morning. So it doesn't feel as bad. It doesn't feel the way it was feeling before I started feeling fetal movements. So yeah, that's a good thing. James got up this morning and cooked me, made me a little breakfast sandwich. So I was able to eat that this morning and feel good. So to have my stomach full, because I don't, even though I have that appointment, I feel the anxiety a little bit. If I don't eat, then it goes too long before I do eat, and then I end up getting feeling sick because I've waited too long to eat. So I said, well, let me go ahead and get something to eat, especially since I feel pretty good this morning. So that's what I did. And how y'all doing this morning? I didn't even ask how y'all were doing. I asked y'all to be my little company for the ride, but I didn't even ask how y'all were doing this morning. I hope everybody is well. I hope that, it is, what's today, Wednesday. I hope that your week, we're in the middle of the week now. So I hope that the first part of your week was good. And I hope that you'll finish out the week strong. But yeah, let me say this. The Lord has really been doing some things through this pregnancy. Woo! And I can't even begin to tell the story. But just know this, the Lord has been doing some things during this pregnancy. And I'm going to speak more to that later. But it's been amazing. It really has. So, yeah, it's been interesting, but amazing, if I can say so, if I can put those two things together. But anyway, so I'm pulling up now, get ready to pull up now or getting ready to turn in now. So I am going to, just come back on and let you guys know how everything was. So wish me well, you guys. Wish me well. Wish me and the baby well. And I will talk to y'all after this appointment is over and let y'all know how everything go. All right. Bye. All right, y'all. So I am back and finished with my appointment. So, first off, everything looks good. Actually, today I had to, there were a couple more scan items on the checklist on the midway scan that didn't get done the last time, that they had to finish up today. So they had to finish a couple more things off of the midway scan checklist, that they didn't see or they couldn't get last time. Baby was just way too active. So so that was good. Everything came back good with that. Y'all, this baby is already I'm 22. Well, I'll be 22 weeks tomorrow. This baby is already at a pound and 4 ounces. So yeah, the doctor was like, oh, that's really good growth. That baby growing good. So I'm like, dang, already a pound. And I can feel it too, every bit of it. Everything looks good as far as the logistics. They had to look at like the spine. They went into the brain again and looked at and checked the blood flow. I think I had explained a little bit of that to y'all in the when my husband and I sat down and talked about it. But where they have to, because of this blood issue, they have to check, monitor closely, very closely the baby, make sure that the baby is not being affected. And one of the main areas that the baby would be affected if there was an issue is in the brain, the blood flow to the brain. So they had to look at that, but everything with that is perfect. So, so there are no worries there. So everything scan wise is good. And I don't know if I had told y'all, but James had to get tested in all of this when we were like in question about everything and we were just waiting for answers. James had to undergo testing too, because part of this is obviously, when two people come together to make a baby, it kind of depends on, what both people are bringing to the table. And so he had to undergo testing too, and they had to test him to see if they wanted to know for him if he had any of these or any antibodies or any of these two, particular the D or the anti-Kel antibody, so that they would know if something was going to be passed to the baby. So luckily though, gratefully, and we're grateful, but he tested negative, so he didn't have any antibodies to even worry about, because they had told us even when they were ordering the test, they said, and they were telling us what they wanted to do this for. They were saying that they wanted to, if he did test positive for these, then there could be something pretty serious to worry about. But if he did not test positive, or if he tested negative for them, or didn't have any antibodies, then there was no way that anything could be passed on to the baby. So they would have been very confident that things would be really good. So luckily he tested negative for all of that stuff, for everything. And then I think I remember, I don't know if I told y'all this, but like they tested me for a whole bunch of stuff, like autoimmune, because they thought that like I had some autoimmune stuff that might have been going on. They thought that maybe I might have had an autoimmune disease or even a thyroid issue. Those were the two main things that could make my blood do the kind of things that it's doing, possibly. But all of that came back normal, so nothing to worry about in those instances. But everything is fine. So I learned in my test results today, my antibody levels are still, actually, you guys, one, because remember I told you I had 2 antibodies that my body, that they were gonna have to be looking at during this pregnancy. But actually today he let me know that the results revealed that one of the antibodies is not even showing up anymore. So I was like, oh, and that was the D. Now the anti-cal antibody is still there, but it's at a 1, so it's really, really weak. We might as well just low as the lower the number, the better. And so it's still at 1, so it's still really low. And he still feels really confident, like he did last time, that because it's remaining so low, that if at this point, he said, if you haven't really experienced any issues, because we've had women who by this point, you know, the monitoring has picked up a little bit or whatever, we have to, you know, do different protocol and things like that. But he said, but if you haven't at this point and you're halfway through had any real issues, he still feels pretty confident that there shouldn't be any. So there's that. However, he did say, now this is the part that's kind of like I do have to still, he's thinking that I will have to get that RhoGAM shot, or that I should still get that RhoGAM shot. He said they won't do it until 28 weeks, which is the injection I was telling you about, that you would normally give to an O negative woman. But he said the thing is, I know it sounds weird, but he said, but I think in a sense your blood type is changing, which is so crazy. It's like, so it is. So he, you know, had to kind of, you know, explain what that meant for me. And he's like, it's not anything bad or anything harmful. It's just, he said, we really just looking out, because he said, if you were to get pregnant again, he was like, you know, because there's the possibility, because your RH factor of the positive aspect of the O is in question, it's like weak. He said it is kind of veering toward the negative now, so O negative. So he said what we wouldn't want is for the baby to, or is for, you know, that weak status to actually turn strong. And then he said I would really, it would create another antibody for me, like, you know, and then if I was to get pregnant again in the future, he said it could, you know, be an issue for the baby. So he said to remedy all of that, he's like, you know, we're just looking at your future. We're planning based on the future. And he said, whether you actually get pregnant or not, it, you know, that's up to you. But he said, but if you do, we're looking at a possible future. So yeah, looking like I might have to get that RhoGAM shot, even though I'm not an O negative woman. But I guess, you know, just to be cautious and to be safe, and like he said, thinking of the future, possibly we'll have to do that. So that's that, you guys. But other than that, he said it's not causing anything. So everything with this pregnancy is fine. Everything looks good. Like I said, he still seems pretty confident that I shouldn't really run into any issues with this. And like he said, and I mean, they looked very carefully at, you know, movement of my baby and making sure that everything was good. So I feel confident in that as well. So that's that. This truly, let me say this about this. I want to say this about this pregnancy. This really is, I mean, it really is. It truly is a faith walk still, because here's the thing. The doctors have answered all the questions that they can possibly answer, and have solved all of the medical mystery part, and they've put a lot of that, not a lot of it, but they've pretty much put it to rest, as much as they have been able to. But the thing, and so the medical portion of it, the questions have been, you know, answered and have been put to rest and things like that. But what I have come to realize is that the other part of this thing, the other part of this journey, it truly is, I have to really lean in to trust and faith. And I'll say trust more so than faith, because faith hasn't ever been an issue for me. It hasn't. It's been the trust. But I have really had to lean into the trust aspect, because the rest of this journey it really is just a trust walk, really, with God. And the funny thing is that when I had that miscarriage in September, y'all, it literally just, it shut my mouth. It shut my mouth in the sense that I couldn't even bring myself to form a prayer. I couldn't. And if I'm being honest, I could not. There was nothing I could say, because there was nothing I could even ask, because I thought I had asked. I thought I had asked of God this, and I thought that, you know, I had certain expectations and things that I've just thought. And so when that happened to me, it felt like I don't even know what to say. Like, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to come to you, God, and actually say? There's nothing to say. Nothing. And that's exactly how my faith, that's exactly how my spirit felt. Like, it was like nothing. I couldn't even form any words to say anything, to ask anything, to pray anything at all to God. And I just entered a season of, like, my trust was broken. That's really what the essence of what had happened. My trust was broken because of everything that had happened. And so I began on a journey of, like, distrust. And so that distrust caused me to, like, always, like, question everything, always feel like, well, I don't know, God, I'm not sure. I know who you are, and I know who you said you are, and I know who you've been in my life. I know that. My faith is strong in you. My trust is not. And so, I'm having a hard time trusting that you actually want to do things for me, right? And actually, you know, are willing to do things for me. That's where the issue is. And so, but little did I know through all of that. So y'all have seen some of that because I have done some healing work, you know, that's just been my ministry. And so y'all have seen some of that, like when I do my videos about how I'm feeling and I'm really laying it out. But little did I realize that deep within my heart, even for all these months since September, when I went through all of this, little did I know that deep down in my heart, there was a prayer that my heart spoke, but the words never uttered out of my lips, ever. But I knew it was my heart speaking it. And this was what it said, that I finally had the courage to say only recently, you know, in the last few months, within this pregnancy, that is. My prayer, the prayer that was in my heart was, Lord, I want to trust you, because I want to live in the peace. I want to have the peace that comes only from walking in that trust and trusting you. And I want to trust you, God. I do. I want to trust you. But right now I don't. Like, I want to trust you, though. That was the prayer that was deep in my heart, and I didn't even realize it until I got pregnant again. And when I got pregnant again, and all of these questions began to arise that had never arisen in any of my arose in any of my other pregnancies. When all of those questions and all of those medical mystery things started happening, I had no choice, y'all. I had no choice but to lean in and into that prayer. And I think God knew that. The interesting thing is, I really believe that God knew that this would probably, something like this would probably be the thing I needed to, like, really lean into that prayer and make that heart prayer become a prayer, a verbal prayer. And for me to actually open my mouth again to say that that's what I wanted from you, God. Like, I want to trust you again. I don't right now. Like, that was the feeling. The feeling was I didn't trust, because that was the honest to God truth. It was. My trust was broken. Trust was broken between him and I. And I didn't, but I didn't want that. I wanted to lean into God. I wanted to trust God. I did. I do. And I never realized that that prayer was living deep in my heart, but just that I could not fix my mouth to say it. And so anyway, I'm saying all of that to say, to get to this. I believe that God has used this opportunity to really help me to lean in to the very thing that I prayed for, but I didn't realize that this was what I was wanting. Is that I wanted to trust God again, but how was that going to happen? And that's why it's so important for us to understand that God's ways are not our ways. I would have never thought that a pregnancy this close to the traumatic happenings that I had to endure, this close to that, I wouldn't have never used a pregnancy, a subsequent pregnancy, and then with all of these questions, right, that at first could not be answered. That was God's way, because it was then when those questions started happening, I had no choice, because if I wanted to have any sort of peace and to be able to at least sleep or something or rest at some point, I had to lean into that prayer that God, okay, I said I wanted to trust you, now here we are. Okay, I gotta trust you now, Lord. So it's kind of been interesting how that has really played out. Because now I really, more than ever, I feel like that trust has been rebuilding through this pregnancy. I wouldn't have. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I just thought I would share that, for somebody, that you don't know that God is hearing every one of your prayers, even the ones you can't even and won't even speak. Even those ones, God is hearing you. God heard my heart, because he surely did not hear it come out of my mouth. My lips wouldn't even utter a prayer, not a single prayer, y'all, in those months. I could not, because I really had an issue with trust, and that was what the bottom line was. And that's okay. That's okay, because God has a way. Because my faith was never a question. God has a way of working that through, of helping me to work that through, and he did, and he has. And so yes, I just wanted to share that for some inspiration to somebody, because listen, God is hearing everything, okay? Hearing and seeing everything. You don't even have to utter a word. Your spirit is praying for you sometimes. The Spirit of the Lord is always there and is praying for you, even at times when you don't even know what to say, how to say it, if you want to say it. But it's in your heart. That prayer was in my heart. That was deep down. That's why I wrestled the way I did. If you watch my videos, if you go back and watch the videos, that's why I was wrestling that's why I was wrestling the way I was wrestling, because the reality is this: my faith has never been a question, but it was my trust that had been broken, and I needed so badly and wanted so badly for that to be rebuilt between God and I. So listen, y'all, it's been a whole thing. Honestly, this thing has truly brought me back around to listen, God, I need you. Listen, I need you. I need you. I need to trust you. I need to be able to trust you. I do. But I never would have imagined that it would be in the form of another pregnancy, being in the same spot that my trust was lost in the first place. But it's been when I tell y'all, it's been a blessing. God has been speaking and working, and it's so amazing. It really is. That's what I meant when I said earlier, interesting but amazing, if I can say those two things together. But anyway, that's my little rant. I know I've been going on, but just wanted to share that. So I am gonna end this right here, because I really just wanted some company while was going to and from my appointment this morning. So thank y'all for hanging out with me. I appreciate it, because I don't have any of my family, my husband, my baby girl, anything. So thank y'all for hanging with me and listening to me go on about this thing. But yeah, yeah, so that's that. All right, y'all, and I'm about to be at home very shortly anyway. So thank y'all for riding with me. And thank y'all for keeping me company while I do so. So I'll holler at y'all in another video. I will be back, and we're gonna do another devotion, actually, because I'm gonna get back to that with you guys. I've been doing it on my own, but I just haven't picked up the camera to do it. So that'll probably be the next time you guys see me. So I will talk to you then. Y'all have a blessed day. Thank y'all for joining. All right, bye-bye.